It's Rush to Reason with your host, John Rush. Presented by Cub Creek Heating and Air Conditioning.
And we're back. Hour number 2, Rush to Reason, Denver's Afternoon Rush, KLZ560. Will Hild joining us now. Will, welcome. How are you today?
Doing great. Great to be with you.
Executive Director of Consumers Research. Talk to us about Microsoft and the fact that there's been some digging, and I guess they've got some engineers in communist China that actually work for the Pentagon's computer system.
Yeah, it's frankly one of the most insane stories you could possibly imagine. Microsoft won a contract to help maintain the Department of Defense's computer systems. And instead of hiring U.S.-based coders here who they could vet properly and trust, they hired a team in China and then just simply assigned them sort of chaperones here in the United States to watch over them as they work. The problem is, of course, that that allows them all kinds of access to our defense systems. And if in order to keep someone from doing something bad, you'd have to be at least as good as they are at coding. Well, if they're at least as good as the Chinese coders, just have them do the coding.
Well, thank you, Will. I mean, I'm sharp enough on the technical aspect of things to know how some of these things work, fortunately. And the other thing I know, Will, is unless those quote-unquote chaperones are literally watching every single piece of code and line that they are inputting. And to your point, if they're doing that, why not do it yourself? Because if you're not doing that, you're not watching over them.
Exactly. And so this is a company that we've been calling out over the last few months for doubling down on wokeism, for doubling down on DEI. They've been one of the companies that has pushed back the hardest against the Trump administration's initiative to get rid of DEI in higher ed and in corporate America. And so it's very telling that this is the company that was offshoring coding of our defense systems to our probably biggest geopolitical enemy in the world. It really speaks.
No, it is the biggest. No, I think you're very spot on, Will, when you say that. It is, in my opinion, they are, there's some other bad actors out there for sure, but they're public enemy number one because they have the ability, as you know, to take that information. And in my opinion, I don't think I'm wrong here, Will, they've got the ability to turn that into other things that can be used against us far better than probably any other country on planet Earth can.
That's exactly right. And while we may have issues with countries like Iran or Russia, China has much, much broader ambitions for the world than either of those two countries. And so it is an insane breach of just basic common sense that they would allow. And frankly, it's borderline treasonous.
I agree. I agree with you on that. Absolutely.
But imagine what happens if we get into a kinetic conflict over the defense of Taiwan and our defense systems fail in that moment because they have allowed Chinese coders to be involved. And this is something I want to draw a distinction here because one of the reasons we go after woke companies is because it's inherently bad to discriminate based on race and sex.
That's right.
But the other reason that wokeism is so bad is because without fail, whenever we see a company going woke, really, really going woke, they are always failing at their core mission. Yeah. It's a distraction from the fact that they have forgotten about their consumers, or in this case, forgotten about our national security, right? And so that's why whenever you see a company going woke, what you should think is, what are they hiding? What are they messing up? And I think this is a perfect example of that with Microsoft.
No, you know what? I think you're 100% correct on all of that. And again, my fear in this, and I'm sure you guys' fear is the same, is the back doors also that can be put in doing these things, meaning, to your point a moment ago, we have some sort of major conflict, something comes up, and then all of a sudden we're wondering why things aren't working, quite right. We saw, Alaska Airlines have to shut down yesterday for X amount of time for a cybersecurity situation. Will, what's to say that, that couldn't happen to our defense mechanisms? And by the way, any type of a scenario you could throw out there, who's to say that couldn't happen to us?
Nothing at all, and Microsoft certainly can't guarantee it at this point. I would hope that...
really quick, Will, Microsoft can't put out a new iOS, put out a new OS without a gazillion bugs in it. So I have no confidence in that side of it at all.
That's exactly right. And I think this speaks to even a broader trend. As you noticed, the quality of Microsoft products is on the decline as they have outsourced more and more to foreign coders who they use to undercut wages of American-trained coders here in the United States. And it just speaks to a lack of concern for their product, lack of concern for their consumers, and they just use this gloss of DEI that they're hiring non-whites in order to do it, as if that's a virtue, as if discriminating against people based on their race or sex is a good thing. They brag about it in order to undercut wages. So it's a double damage to consumers into the American country.
So I always ask this question because I like solutions. How do we fix this?
Well, I think one of the biggest things we do is consumers start treating DEI and wokeism as the mark of poor quality and bad management that it is.
Okay.
For a number of years, companies would brag about it. They need to go from not just bragging about it, they need to be running from it. And so that's one of the reasons we have a weekly woke alert system that we put out. You can visit us at Consumers Research to sign up for that. But we always make sure to provide contact information. It's not just about getting people riled up and making feel like doomsday is around the corner. It's about activating us as consumers to push back. And I think everyone would agree we're seeing a lot less of this nonsense than we saw maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Absolutely.
That's because consumers have pushed back against Target, Budweiser, and a host of other companies. And the more we do that, the more they will understand they're not going to get away with this DEI wokeism scam. Yeah,
as you know, Will, it's the power of the purse that really does affect some of these individuals. And I had read, I was not able to verify this, so please nobody, go out and hold me to this or repeat this because I wasn't able to verify this. But rumor has it, Will, that Budweiser, you mentioned them, that they, in that year that we had all of the issues with Mulvaney and all of that, that they actually disposed of more, Bud Light than they actually sold.
I had not heard that, but I wouldn't be surprised about that because I think what happened there is a huge reservoir of frustration with corporate America was unleashed by that insane campaign. And so I would only amend what you're saying. The power of the purse is very important, but never forget the power of your voice as well.
True.
Make sure that when you're switching your purchasing decisions from one product or the other, you let that company know why.
Yeah,
because that filters up to the executives, and that's what will make them fair. And part of what made the Budweiser campaign so effective was the social media, the jokes, the posts, the attacks. Right. It devastated their brand. And
great point.
Consumers should never feel anything but empowered because they really are the ones in charge.
No, if there's anything social media has done positively, there's a lot of negatives that come out of it, Will, as we know, but if there's any positives that have come out of it, and for those of you listening, trust me, it does work. There are teams of individuals out there from all of these big companies, even some small companies, that are literally watching for posts. A company like Microsoft will have pre-programmed bots, if you will, that are out there looking for negative or positive feedback on any of their products. So believe me, when you post on either Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or X, Twitter, however you want to say it, at the end of the day, Will, those companies know that because they are purposely looking for that.
That is exactly right. That is exactly right. And that, taken with the decline in sales, is the nuke that destroys wokeness.
Right.
When they see that message of this is why we're not buying your product anymore, and those sales start to drop, that's when those executives start polishing up their resumes because they realize it's only a matter of time till they're out the door.
That's exactly right. So, no, you are right. It is the power of the purse. It's the power of social media. In some cases, direct phone calls, direct emails, direct letters, even snail mail, believe it or not, folks. That still works today, Will. Those things make it to the executives' offices as well. And to your point, it may not have much of an effect early on because most of them will say, well, we'll just kind of ride this out and see how it goes. But if they start seeing a dramatic drop in sales, believe me, they pay attention.
That's exactly right. And they are terrified. These woke companies are terrified of more and more Americans basically making this a routine habit to push back on this. And that's why we created this woke alert system, which you can sign up for on our website at consumersresearch.org, so that we can, for the consumers that are just sick and tired of this, we can give them a way to activate week after week after week. We're not going to bombard you, but it gives you something to feel like you're pushing back because this is how we win.
That's right. Honestly, Will, again, thank you. A perfect segment. I've enjoyed this. It goes right along with some of the things I was talking about in the last hour. And again, give the website one more time where folks can find you and keep up on all the things you guys are working on.
Absolutely. They can sign up for our woke alerts at consumersresearch.org, and they can follow me on X at Will Hild. That's WILLHILD. Come along with us. We're building together an army, and we're going to end this woke stuff.
Will, thank you. I appreciate you, sir. You're welcome anytime. Thanks.
Thanks so much for having me.
Have a great night. Now,